Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20 plus years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the radiator cooling fan on this 2004 Dodge Intrepid. Same as quite a few years of this Intrepid. And your radiator fan should work when your car is running and your AC is on. Tools you'll need are 6.5 or 7 millimeter socket and ratchet or wrench, and that's to remove the headlights. 10 and 13 millimeter socket and ratchet, and you'll need a 2-inch extension, a regular screwdriver, and a pair of pliers.
You can see I've taken one headlight out, and I'm going to remove the other headlight. Okay, I'm using a 7 millimeter socket, and I actually think that these bolts are 6.5 millimeter, but if you use a 7 millimeter, you should be able to remove them. There's two, there's one there, and there's one right over in the corner here. Remove those bolts. Now pull your headlight up and out. Twist this side bulb and pull it out. Okay, and then disconnect your headlights. You'll either pull them out or sometimes you'll pull them down. You may want to use a screwdriver to help you pry the prongs off. Now with the headlights out of the way, you're going to remove a series of pins, 10 millimeter bolts and 13 millimeter bolts. Okay, there's 4 plastic pins right here along the front. Okay. And all you do for those is use a screwdriver, pry up on them. Okay, then you should be able to kind of work them with your hand. Pull that pin up and out, and then this clip comes up and out. Okay, and then 10 millimeter. Then you have to take off these two 10 millimeters and this 10 millimeter, and these kind of push back. You got a 13 millimeter bolt here, another 13 millimeter bolt here. Okay, a 10 millimeter bolt, another 10 millimeter bolt, 13 millimeter bolt, and another 13 millimeter bolt, and a 10 millimeter bolt.
We'll fast forward through removing all those fasteners, the bolts first, and then you'll see me pry out the clips a little bit later on.
Everything unbolted. We have a couple of little plastic rivets here that hold some shields on, and you kind of just get under here with a screwdriver. Okay, and basically just pry those rivets out.
And then do the other side as well.
Okay, now with those rivets released, just push these back a little bit, pull this panel up. Tug on your nose a little bit. There is your cable that you want to make sure just kind of comes up and out of here, and then you can just gently kind of let your panel hang down if you want. If you like, you can disconnect the hood release cable, but it's okay like that as long as you don't knock it or hit it and kink the cable. Okay, so looking from this side, here's where your radiator fan plugs in. Take a screwdriver, push on this little red locking tab, pair of pliers, and grab it on the other side here. Let's try these. that lock right out. Okay. And then you want to press with your thumb right here and disconnect. Okay, so now to remove our radiator fan, there's 4 bolts. One here, one down there, further. Okay, and then the same thing on the other side. Okay, here and down further. And those are 10mm bolts.
Okay, now I'm just going to fast forward, use a ratchet extension and 10mm socket, and I remove the 2 bolts on the driver's side pretty easily, and then I'm able to remove the bolt, the lower bolt on the passenger side fairly easily, and then I'll slow it back down as I have some problems with the upper bolt.
Okay, I already tried on this top one. And what happened is the bolt in here started moving around, so I hit it with a bunch of penetrating oil. So what I'm going to do is try and stick my screwdriver in there. The screwdriver holds the bolt, but it doesn't want to move. Tighten it back up. Tighten it back up a little bit. Hit it with some more penetrant and let it sit. Okay, and after letting that sit for a little while, we're ready to try it again. Came out. Okay, on top there's a little clip right here. Screwdriver. Just pry that right up and off. Okay, you can see that the fan assembly goes back. Just kind of work the radiator so you can pull it up and out. Okay, so our original fan, new fan from 1A Auto. You can see everything's the same, has all the same connections and everything. It's going to bolt right in. On this vehicle, my original fan's working fine, so I'm going to reinstall the original fan. I just wanted to show you that when you order a fan from 1A Auto, it's going to work. It's going to go in there and work just like it should. If you were to put a new fan in, one thing you would want to do is remove this little clip, which you just use a screwdriver or something, or pliers, pull it off, and install it on here the exact same way. Okay, to reinstall a fan, put it down in like that. I'm going to lift up the radiator on this side, slide everything down in. Okay, and then I'm just looking right down the middle. I can see my little clip down there. Get it lined up and push it on. Pull it in right close. Take my clip, press it right down and on. And that really just kind of holds it in place. Okay, start this bolt over here.
Okay, now I'm just going to fast forward as I start the other 3 bolts, and you just kind of lift up and move the fan around a little bit and twist the bolts in, and they go in. Okay, and we'll keep the video sped up here as I use my air ratchet to tighten up those 4 bolts, and I do have a little trouble just kind of reaching the driver's side lower one. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but even with my big hands and stuff, I'm able to get in there. Okay, and now here, slowing it back down, I'm putting my 10mm socket and extension onto just a regular ratchet, so I can just check them by hand and make sure they're as tight as I want. I never tighten anything up with my air tools. I always do the final tightening by hand. And we'll speed it up again as I finish that up.
Okay, now we're going to put it back together here. So you want to bring this piece up. First, there's clips here that you bolt into. Make sure they don't get knocked out of the way. Just make sure they're clipped on there correctly. Put the put this panel down in and pull the nose out. And make sure it goes down onto the rubber there. And there were little clips here that held this in. Those broke when I took it apart, so I'm just going to use wire ties. Nothing saying you have to do really anything here, but that'll at least keep it from flapping and making noise.
Okay, now we're going to speed it up. Basically all I'm doing right now is threading all those bolts in by hand, the 10 and 13mm bolts. I thread them all in by hand before I tighten any of them up. So we're just speeding through that right now. Okay, here just putting in those last two pins in the front that hold the nose fascia to the panel, and now I'm using my air wrench to tighten up the 10mm bolts. Okay, not tightening them up all the way, just getting them most of the way on there. Switch over to my 13mm socket, tighten those four 13mm sockets, or four 13mm bolts. And now I've switched back over to my ratchet, and I'm just checking each one of those bolts, make sure it's nice and tight, but not too tight. Okay, and now here you put the headlight in, bulb in and twist, and connect the low beam and then the high beam. Put the outside in first and then flip it in. And now take your long bolts, feed them down through, give them a little bit of a shake, they go down and in, start them, and then use your 7mm socket, your ratchet, and tighten them up. And then obviously repeat that for the other headlight, and you should be all set. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.